All right, might as well go with the main event first. So Reigns, defeated Owens. That's not anything that people didn't expect to happen. You know, Owens took a absolute shellacking, and then they did a beatdown that felt like it was longer than the match, with the Usos doing the indie super kick party possible. Just super kick, super kick, super kick, super kick. You know, the 1D, the corner smash with the chair from Solo, handcuffing Owens, and then more super kicks, just lighting them up. Roman bringing in a chair and Sammy being like, just don't, it's done. This is beneath you. And then him handing Sammy the chair, and then Sammy being like, I don't want to do this. And then Sammy hitting Roman with the chair. And then, Jimmy attacking him, and Solo attacking him, and Roman attacking him. And this whole time, main event Jay is just like collapsing in the corner. Now, I'm saying this in like seconds, but this was like minutes of incredibly well acted, just fantastic work here. I didn't think we would see them turn on Sammy now, but having like Jimmy and Jay be kind of split, not being on the same page. Main event Jey Uso, who originally did battle against Roman, now until he just feels conflicted because like he really did what he could with Sammy, and just, oh man, there's some really great stuff that happened here in the post match. The match itself was fine. I mean, was it their best match? I don't know. It's hard to say. Sammy and Owens and Reigns have had a lot of really fantastic matches. Was it better than the last man standing match where it was like 8, 9, 9, 9, 9? Paul with the handcuffs. 9, 9, 9, 9. 9.2. But super hot angle. Interesting to see where they run with that on its way to WrestleMania. And now back to the start of the card. Men's Rumble match. Edge came back, attacked the Judgment Day. That was done well. Ray didn't show up, and then Dominic came out with Ray's mask. That might be what happened. Who knows? Miz was the first person eliminated, and then Karrion Kross was the second person eliminated. They did a lot of big men in this. I liked seeing Sheamus and Gunther battle each other, and then seeing Drew McIntyre come in. I wish the camera would have been more on the ring when Lesnar and Gunther locked up. Lesnar, of course, was tossed out by Lashley, and I'm like, okay, Lesnar-Lashley, that's a good thing going into WrestleMania. I'm fine with that. Unless they can work another big money match in, which either way it's fine. Our final four seemed like it was going to be Rhodes, Rollins, Gunther, and Theory. But Logan Paul was never officially eliminated. So Logan Paul, of course, rolled in the ring, eliminated Seth Rollins, and I was like, Logan Paul, Seth Rollins could be an amazing match. They did a fantastic bit where you had Logan Paul on one side, Ricochet on the other, and they both decided to do springboards and just crash into the middle of the ring. And I think Logan got farther than Ricochet. I think Logan was like 12 feet across the 20-foot ring, or probably 11 feet, with Ricochet making like 9 feet, just double clothesline in the air, and you just heard this blah. I mean, just like taking two hunks of meat, just slapping them together in midair. Just vicious. Came down to Rhodes and Gunther. Rhodes was able to get Gunther over the top rope. Good. Especially now with a splintered bloodline. This is one of the few times, I'm going to say this, I really do wish they still did a chamber match. And here's why. I think it would be fantastic if they still did a chamber match, because you could do this match and it wouldn't need to be anything super special. If you were to do the Usos and Solo Sikoa as one team, Zayn, Owens, and Rhodes on the other, and instead of doing like a 6-person match, you do a 6-man tag in a chamber. I think it works out. It would look really cool. You could have Solo eat several finishers and then get pinned in a multi-man match, and I think it'll be fine. Like, oh, it's first he's been defeated. But if you're defeated after eating, like a pop-up powerbomb, haluva kick, crossroads, frog splash, or whatever, you're protected enough for that sort of match. But good way to start the crowd off. Liked it. Some of your surprises were like, here's Booker T. I'm like, all right, Booker T. I was expecting maybe to see either Matt Cardona or Zack Ryder. I know, same guy, but thought it'd been kind of cool. But overall, nice hot opener, got the crowd into it. And I'm like, where's your come down match? And it was the Mountain Dew Pitch Black match. My wife goes, what's a pitch black match? And I'm like, I have no idea. She's like, is it going to fight by candlelight? I'm like, that'd be a candlelight match, but I have no idea. So the match begins and it's black light. And the nice thing was, so the ropes were super bright and vibrant. LA Knight also bright and vibrant. And Bray had done like contacts and like face makeup and like arm makeup that really showed in the black light. And I like seeing all the Firefly emblems and all the little, I thought that was good. I'm like, okay, this is, they did bits where, they smashed through a table, but on the table they had put things that were like these bright green, just explosions of colors. And I was like, if there was a place to put this match, you can do the weird experimental match where the crowd's going to pop for Bray coming out, do a few things here and there, the crowd's going to be like, oh, what am I watching? And that way then the crowd have a come down moment while they're confused. That's fine. So of course, Bray won, fairly short match. Sister Abigail. Then he put on a mask over the makeup, which looked really cool. I like the contacts he had into. That looks. You can tell he the black light. Cool. Do less black light stuff, just to look this entire more different level of menacing. And then a walk and brawl. I like the kendo stick that LA Knight used. Every time he hit Bray, some of the color came off and went onto Bray, and I was like, that. Tell he's being hit. Okay. Then a little bit of walk and brawl, mandible claw, jump from the top of scaffolding by Howdy into a spot that blew up with fire, and then in the background you got to see larger versions of the Firefly's Funhouse puppets, and I was like, weird, odd, but it was at a good spot for the event. Followed that up with Alexa Bliss and Bianca Belair, which was a fine match. Their chemistry is okay. I mean, we're not talking like a 4 Horsemen level, but the match was fine. I was like, well, Bliss is gonna lose. Then Uncle Howdy showed up and I was like, are you sure you're in control? Yeah, cool. It was less of a match and more of a means for a story beat. Okay, that's fine. Now, the Women's Rumble match. We began with Ripley and Morgan. Ended with Ripley and Morgan. I'm fine with that. It makes a nice bookend for it. I liked the booking of Damage Control when all 3 of them were in. They did a good job eliminating people. They helped each other from getting eliminated. I liked it. And then when they got eliminated, it was kind of like one after another. Like, okay, like not bad booking for Damage Control. They felt like a group that should be taken seriously. Lots of NXT women showed up. Roxanne Perez, near her hometown, makes sense. Zoe Stark, makes sense. Chelsea Green showed up for long enough to say, hi, I'm Chelsea Green, before she got eliminated. Okay, she's back, cool. That's not the best way to show up, but if she wants to be a heel character to complain about stuff, it would work well from a character building standpoint. I'm fine with Also had some other returning people. So Piper Niven came back as Piper Niven. I'm fine with that. Zoe Stark showed up for a little bit. Okay. You had to fill in the 30 spots. Okay. Asuka came back in face paint closer to like Kana. Probably as close as PG-13E could get to Kana. We're not going to see like demon clown makeup, but that worked. I'm like, okay, cool. Nia Jax was number 30. Showed up, I was like, what y'all gonna do? Y'all ain't gonna do nothing. And then everyone ganged up on our eliminator. I'm like, okay. Rodriguez did try to hit a slam on her, just couldn't get her up. I think some of it's probably either, Jax hasn't been doing this stuff again for a while. She might have already not getting herself posted up properly, or it could just be, a weight distribution thing. Ripley tried to do a slam, could not get her. And then Ripley hit her with a riptide. Not the cleanest riptide, but given who she was working with, solid riptide. I'm like, cool. I'm happy with a more aggressive Asuka, and I'm glad Piper Niven's no longer Doudrop. Cool. Fine with that. Worked well. Came down to Ripley, Nikki Cross, Asuka, and Morgan. And by the time it was the final four, it became the final three. I loved the bit where all three of them were on the apron fighting. Asuka going for the mist. Ripley ducks the mist. It gets into Liv's face. Ripley knocks Asuka off. Looked like Morgan might have been able to do it. Ripley ends up doing like a head scissors to take Morgan down and to win it. So Damage Control looked solid in this. Some of the better booking they've had in quite some time. I'm glad Indy Hartwell showed up. I almost wish that Candice LeRae was doing more stuff with Damage Control, because that would be a nice way of actually calling up Indy Hartwell to help her deal with Damage Control. Why not? And then they could use that, and then be like, oh, well, let's help Becky Lynch in this thing, because she's feuding with Damage Control and Bayley. There's ways of taking pieces that already exist and already mesh and putting them into a full story. But Ripley looked like an absolute monster. Went from one to being the victor. Like the fourth person to do that. She looked like a beast. Looked like $1 million in this. And it's like, Ripley Belair, down with it. Ripley Flair, down with that too. I think either one of those will be a very, very solid match. Now for Rhodes, of course, he's got only one person to pick. So, but Rhodes is also going to be talk about, I want to win this title because my dad never won it. Put on my dad's grave. His mom passed away recently. He's got enough legit emotional ammunition to really drive home some fantastic points. And with the bloodline kind of fractured a little bit, you can tell they're damaged. Psychologically, not physically, but psychologically and emotionally, they're damaged. I'm like, it's gonna be a good time for Rhodes to see if he can go from where he is to that main event guy who will potentially dethrone Roman in a near almost 1,000-day championship reign. And Beth Phoenix came down and attacked Rhea Ripley during the men's Rumble match. Do we do something with Edge and Beth Phoenix versus the Judgment Day? Could we work in Rey Mysterio? Again, this would be one of those, if you did a chamber match, would you do Edge, Phoenix, Mysterio versus, Rey, Dominic, and Ripley? Yes, I did just book a mixed, technically tag team elimination chamber match. Because I thought if you want to do a chamber match, you've got ones that actually work, and it's not, and it's be more of a war game, so I'm aware of that, but would make for some really interesting sort of matchups. But if they're not doing a chamber, that's fine. But, solid way to start the road to WrestleMania. Brock didn't show up, Austin didn't show up, X-Pac didn't show up. Lesnar showed up and all that, but I mean, no super huge surprises to make these amazing, casual fan matches, but some great solid storytelling for what should be, you know, a pretty good couple months heading into WrestleMania.